Palace, they lost against Brighton. We thought that Palace were favourites because they were. And they bloody well buggered it up. Anthony Knockout scored a beauty to win the match, although Hodgson was unhappy that he was still on the pitch after that first-minute challenge on Milivojevic.
Yeah, it was naughty, wasn't it? I think that's a straight red, but because it's happened so early.
Yeah,
I mean, it is one of those. Yeah, whatever minute it happens, it shouldn't matter. But
Do you think
very
the
much the
referee's got to manage the game, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, but come on though, it's just dangerous play.
Sure.
Do you think that's the referee? That's your one now.
I have sympathy with Jim's viewpoint because I think the referee's got to manage the game, but at the same time, I mean, you can take that to its natural conclusion. Someone takes like a nuclear bomb on the pitch.
Yeah.
You're like, oh well, the thing is in the first minute. Nah.
I think if I saw a footballer with a nuclear bomb on the pitch, I'd go just before I died. I'd go, this was unexpected. This is about as unexpected as like, where's he got the uranium from?
How's he enriched it?
The refined uranium, and how's he managed to produce a nuclear bomb?
Often people moan that nowadays in football,
there's not enough nuclear bombs.
There's not. Well, you don't see stuff for the first time anymore. I've never seen that before.
I've never seen nuclear fission.
It would be a strange.
Listen, Anthony Knockout's got a hand grenade on his boot. We know that.
We certainly do.
It would be a strange thing to react to as well, because you think I assume it would have some sort of panelling on it that explained it was nuclear, and you think, well, there's no point diving for cover.
No,
just got to enjoy this last moment of consciousness.
No,
I'll try and stick one in the net real quick before it happens.
Has the Spurs new stadium got seat backs that are lead lined, so you can just like duck behind it?
Could do.
Have
they thought about that?
They seem to thought of everything else.
The booking that Knockout, is it Knockout or Knockout?
I would say Knockout.
Knockout picked up was 28 seconds. You're going to say it's the fastest run in the Premier League this season, right?
No, I'm not.
Say it.
Funny, because that's what you got written down here. I'm sorry to steal your thunder, but I want to take it on a notch and say, do you guys know any of the information around what the actual fastest yellow card in the Premier League of all time is? Who did it? Who it's for? What time it was?
Well, I know this was the first one, the fastest since 2009, according to the BBC.
Right.
I saw it's £9 he's not getting back as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Please tell me it involved the flick of the coin and he flicked in the referee's face.
No,
Yellow.
No, it wasn't that.
It was after the whistle went, presumably.
Yeah, it was after 5 seconds, and it was on the 21st of March 1992.
Oh, Vinnie Jones.
Correct.
Was it against Liverpool?
Sheffield United against Man City.
Oh, okay, right.
I don't know what that tackle looked like, but I imagine nowadays it would be a straight red.
Imagine.
And now he's fat shaming Piers Morgan.
Yeah, true. Well, yeah, he is.
We've all put on a bit of timber.
If you can imagine in your mind exactly what a Vinnie Jones yellow card looks like in the early 90s after 5 seconds, it looks exactly like that.
Yeah.
And that would be very much a straight red card.
Yeah, I'm picturing like a cutaway from Braveheart.
Yeah.
Do you know Vinnie Jones has
less bums out?
Well, in a battle scene.
I think he got nearly half the red cards Sergio Ramos has got in his career. I understand that red cards are a bit easy to pick up these days. I think he got 13. I think he got 14. One was rescinded later.
Right.
Sergio Ramos, and I will never tire of bringing this out, has 6 red cards against Barcelona.
Yeah, alone.
Yeah. Wasn't Sergio Ramos when he was
Zidane got a fair few as well.
Obviously sitting one out for Ajax against Ajax.
That's right.
He
filming like a documentary up in the.
I believe there was something like that happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. I want to see that documentary.
And this going back to Palace against Brighton. So, as we discussed before, it's a pretty fiercely contested derby.
Well, hence Knockout's challenge.
But Glenn Murray got a decent reception.
Yeah. Well, he was at Palace for a while. And he scored goals there and whatnot.
But when he scored against them, he didn't celebrate.
Yeah. No, he didn't. But before the game, when the names were being read out, his name was read out, and he got a bit of a round of applause. Which I think it's fair enough.
It's hard. He's one of those players. It's hard to sort of dislike.
Yeah, very much. Especially given how good he still is.
The way he took his goal.
Did he get a better reception or a worse reception than Jack Grealish?
We'll come on to that a bit later.
Indeed. Yeah. I thought the atmosphere was great. The atmosphere is always really good at Selhurst Park, but you really feel the intensity of that weird derby. I think it's a worry for Palace though that Knockout played so well, because if Anthony Knockout is playing really well against you, does that suggest that you are championship quality?
It might do.
He's in Darren Huckabee zone. So
what a goal though!
It's
beautiful.
That's a great goal at any level.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the way to win a derby match. Both sides on 33 points, just 5 ahead of Cardiff, of course, who've got a brilliant win themselves. I've said a few times I fancy Palace to pull away from it, and I still do. I don't think Palace will be relegated because realistically it is just that one spot. I mean, Warnock's talked about them versus Southampton, and Southampton will come on to them in just a second. But Palace's home form is worrying. They've not scored many goals at all. They've got a couple of good away wins recently. So
Was it disrespectful to Roy Hodgson for Brighton to go there and win them on their own patch?
I'd say so.
Oh, the eldest statesman of the game.
Yeah.
The eldest serving manager in Premier League history.
Again.
Indeed.
He hit that record again this weekend.
Yeah, again, exactly. He's breaking it every week at the moment. He's like Messi.
Yeah.
Just records are tumbling.
Is Milivojevic?
Yeah.
I've pronounced that wrong about 3 times already today. I do apologise.
Call him the big M.
He loves a penalty, doesn't he?
Oh, it's brilliant. I love a penalty specialist like that.
Yeah, there are 2 players who are head and shoulders above everyone else when it comes to taking penalties, him and Harry Kane. They're both brilliant at penalties.
That's true. Although sadly, for the big Serbian that I'll now call him, he that one against Man City, of course,
that was a
last season?
sickener. That was an absolute sickener.
It was a shame. But come on, if you take that many penalties, you're going to miss.
And
one
Crystal
once in a
Palace
while.
have got Watford away next, and in the cup, and then after that, I think they're at home to Huddersfield. So you'd fancy them to win that one because Huddersfield are sort of down tools really now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's such a gimme that now, isn't
Huddersfield are now in the back garden, bottom of the back garden in the shed, just working on this old
Having a nap.
4-stroke engine. They've
Kit
always,
car.
they're building a kit
Putting
car.
together a kit car.
They're all building a kit car rather than changing.
Palace and Brighton are extending their derby, their non-geographical derby. They're going toe-to-toe. They're trying to sign the Chelsea defender Reece James. So
Are they?
That's so hopefully that'll just extend the lack of
rivalry.
civility.
Presumably a loan deal. a
Hopefully
Chelsea youngster.
he'll play them off against each other and make it even worse. And then Alan Mullery will come along and throw a lot of change on the floor. So that's what you're worth.
That's right. Southampton, we mentioned them there. We're going to mention them now. They beat Spurs 2-1. A brilliant win. A brilliant win for Southampton. They're up to 30 points, 2 ahead of Cardiff, and Warnock and so on. James Ward-Prowse with another lovely free kick.
James Ward-Beckham.
Yes, Jim.
Beautiful.
He's really come into his own since Hasenhüttl's taken over because
Definitely.
he showed a lot of promise.
He did.
And then he sort of, I don't know if he had injuries or he's not really, he was getting criticism for not adding goals to his game, and he sort of seemed to stagnate, didn't he? Now under Hasenhüttl, he's playing brilliantly.
He's a
Well,
bit of a
he's
talisman
stepped
there.
up, hasn't he? And he's, as you say, he's absolutely that. He's starting to set an example and to lead, and it's really, really good to see that from him.
Sorry, Jim. Yeah.
Well, as Luke said, like he looks a player with promise. Looks a sort of quite exciting young player, and he's clearly got a very mature head on his shoulders, and it's nice to see that sort of actually, after difficult time Southampton have had in the last sort of couple of seasons or so. It's good to see one of those players stepping up because you worry like, are you what's left after the good players have been picked apart and are you not good enough?
Yeah, and it's hard to flourish. Isn't
Answer me this then: when are Liverpool going to sign him?
Yeah.
I think that if it is quite an impromptu thing, then fair enough. Whereas if it's just like, right, we've got to do the team, then we go out and then we do the huddle, and then we do.
I think some people will probably, some of the younger players might really benefit from it because you've got the captain in there, he's leading the charge, and he's saying, right, we're all doing this together sort of thing, and it will give you a galvanising effect. But I suppose the criticism maybe comes from the fact that do that in the dressing room, you're focused and you're away, because sometimes you see players, I'll tell you what might be just me getting old, or us getting old. I remember players being a lot more focused in the tunnel than they seem to be now. They're a lot more sort of jovial now, aren't they?
True, but then that can go either one way or the other. Sometimes you're a bit more too highly strung or wound up.
And you
Maybe
get
like
booked up
Anthony
for 5
Knockout.
seconds.
But I think like if and to be honest, he didn't cover his mouth, did he? Hasenhüttl when he was giving the old instructions. So,
I've got something on that later, by
so
the way.
you could. So it's just nice to see somebody not covering their mouth when they're talking.
Yeah.
Arsenal beat Manchester United 2-0.
Ooh la la.
2-0. They ended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's unbeaten run in the league. What a win for Arsenal. There was some great last-ditch defending from Arsenal, Jim, throughout that game. Some great saves from Leno.
Yeah, Leno has been in excellent form of late. It took him a while to sort of settle in, but he looks confident now and looks like he's giving confidence to the rest of the team. And I love seeing Arsenal defending a lead like that. And obviously, we were talking before about the way the game went in the FA Cup, which made me think that this might be a difficult afternoon. And in parts it was. But I think Emery reacted to Man United's counter-attacking game by just doing the same. And it sort of it left them having to play a very, very different match from the game at in the FA Cup. And also Jesse Lingard's breakdancing was infuriating at the time. And Leno has said that like they used that as motivation.
Did they?
Would
great,
Leno have dealt with that swerver that De Gea let in?
I don't know. I feel like.
Well,
I
it's
feel like
the
that's
big
a
conversation
freak
of our
one.
age, this.
It's a freak one now.
Neville and
I feel
Carragher
like
had
De
a
Gea's-
massive ding dong about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, they
Well,
love
well
it.
everyone was sort of saying like it was a terrible mistake from an ex-goalkeeper. I'm looking at that going, that didn't make me think that it was an absolute rick. It made me think, goalkeeping is really difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even been in the place where I thought it was going to go.
I think it's one of those ones, isn't it? I think that there's a moment where De Gea, where the ball is coming to him, and obviously with slow motion replays and all the rest of it, you can see where the ball then begins to veer away and he takes a step in the other direction. And that's the moment where he's been done.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a bit of a freak.
There's
really.
a lot of swerve on it, and also the wind probably played a part in it.
More
I
wind.
imagine if Bernd Leno had let that in, you'd be like, oh come on, you got to be doing better than that without having the having the advice to give him on how to do better with it. So I can understand why Man United fans are a little bit disappointed. But Xhaka hits a ball in such a weird way, like he strikes it in a sort of MC Escher style way because it just
up and
moves
down some
around in the
stairs.
weirdest way.
For me, the only criticism you could level at De Gea, I think, is just that he goes quite early.
Yeah.
The balls. I know Xhaka can ping them, but
He's not anticipated it moving at all, is he?
no, and he's quite a long way out, and he's got a clear look at it. So
And
to
it
me,
didn't go in the corner.
no, it went quite near the middle of the goal.
Yeah.
I think the criticism you level is he's put his weight on his foot early, too early, and so he can't adjust. But
And he sort of freezes when it moves.
Well, I
He
think
doesn't
he's
really-
noticed what players are actually hitting it, and he knows he can absolutely howitzer them. So I
Yes.
think he just sort of goes, I need my full body behind this.
but you're right though, Pete. It really did throw into focus how good goalkeepers are because it's so rare you see a ball go that close to the middle of the goal and go in.
Because the ball it made the goal look massive.
Yeah,
that
exactly,
shot. It's a
exactly.
weird thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's slightly fortuitous, I suppose you could say. The second one was never a penalty.
It's a penalty and it's a red. It's a red card.
Yeah.
No, it's
It's not. No one thinks it's a penalty, surely.
No, I praised Lacazette for staying on his feet when he could have gone down for a penalty a little while ago, and I think, well done, mate, you've earned that one. So I don't mind it.
You know, Arsenal's record at home is fantastic, and we
Yes.
know that. And they've only lost once on the opening day, which is a bit like Freshers Week, and anything can happen. You're just really unpredictable the opening day of the season.
Yeah.
So
And it was a tough game.
Jaeger's all round.
exactly. That's certainly what it looked like. So they rode their luck in the game against United because United had some chances and hit the bar and all the rest of it. And
Another day, Manchester United could have won that game.
Fred hit the bar. Exactly. But so the luck is the luck, but the coincidence, it's not a coincidence they're so good at home at Arsenal and they deserve it. And I thought again, it was almost similar to the old Spurs game. A lot of defending looks a little bit last ditch, but they just at the same time they seem quite comfortable.
Exactly, and that is the culture in particular that needs to change because you are going to be under the cosh against the best sides. That's true of Man City. That's what it takes to be a top team. You have to understand how to be under the cosh, weather that storm, and then get back on top yourself. And Arsenal seem to be better at that in recent weeks.
They're more robust,
really, really good. And also, I'm very impressed with the team spirit because the game against Rennes on Thursday was awful. It was an absolutely abysmal situation and very poor result. And the team spirit looks really, really good. And I'm happy to see them sort of bounce back like that, especially with another home game to try and put that right coming up. And the fixture list coming up is encouraging as well. As we've touched on before, Arsenal have played all of the rest of the top six home and away now. And there are still tough games in all of them.
They've got a nice looking run in though.
Yeah, but if they can get that run going again and focus, then they've got a really good chance of finishing in the top four.
What did you think of Neville and Carragher's comments that Emery's overachieving as they believe Arsenal to be the poorest side in the top six? So there was a lot of praise for Emery himself from those two.
To be honest, I don't think that's unfair. I mean,
I think they are the poorest team.
yeah,
I would agree with it.
Some of the players
They're
in
very
that
top
squad-
heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mustafi's had his ricks. There's been
Is he still technically a football player?
well, we'll see, won't we?
Yeah.
Disruptor.
Yeah.
It's an abstract concept, really. Obviously, Hector Bellerin being out is weakens that team considerably, and there's the Özil situation. A lot of different stuff for Emery to contend with, and I think that is
he's doing
fair.
a
I think he's doing a
decent
good job.
I agree, and they did get Mustafi pretty cheap, so it's not the end of the world.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're still in the Europa League, though. I know it was not a great result.
Oh,
and
they can
Rennes are a
turn that
decent
around,
side,
though. They can turn that
but
around.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy
like
peasy.
That, like that.
No bother at all. All right, let's go and talk about Leicester City. Brendy Rodgers got his first win as Leicester City manager. It was against Fulham, so a bit of a gimme, but they've still got to win the game. Jamie Vardy scored his 100th goal for the club.
Yeah.
There was often rumours that Puel and Vardy didn't really get on that well. The relationship between the two wasn't particularly
Puel would never come down vodka revolutions. Vardy just thought that was boring.
All you want to do is go for dinner, have one glass of wine, and go home.
One. What, you're having one?
You're not even going out. and
Put some Skittles in that wine.
You are having another drink. You are having another drink.
and then just go to the bar and buy a new one.
Stop hitting yourself in the face, Jamie.
People can get to their own conclusions about whether Jamie Vardy and Claude Puel got on. But I'll just leave you with this. I typed in Jamie Vardy, Claude Puel into Google,
Mm-hmm.
and the first result I got back had the following headline. Did Leicester striker Jamie Vardy call Claude Puel a fucking knobhead after the Man United defeat? With a video of Jamie Vardy quite clearly calling Claude Puel a fucking knobhead. Could have been hijinks, could have been high spirits after a difficult game.
Could have been talking to a bloke just stood behind him.
Yeah, but he did not, Pete, do what you referenced earlier and put his hand in front of his mouth. That's far too refined for VAR.
No.
Well, I think on
He's
that
not
note,
a man to mince words.
The only time he puts his hand in front of his mouth is when there's a shot of vodka in it.
I think managers, or
Jello.
if you don't want people to know what you're saying, a bit like in the Wild West, get a handkerchief up there.
Yeah.
Or just learn ventriloquism.
Yeah, I'll do that. Thought that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. One of the.
Watch this, ready? Fucking knobhead.
Yeah. Who was that directed at?
You don't even know who said it because I threw my voice.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Jim. There's no need
for
that.
Wear one of those little Japanese masks the Japanese people put on there.
Like a surgeon's
or
one.
shredder.
Yeah.
They've got options, haven't they? Is what we're saying. Either learn ventriloquism, handkerchief, like Wild West style, or
cosplay
Japanese
shredder.
or do the shredder thing, as Pete said. But Rodgers has already been praising Vardy, calling him a world-class striker and a brilliant focal point for the team. He's clearly gone straight for the alpha male of the group, hasn't he?
Yeah. No, he's
And it's a wise
gone
decision.
very populist.
Indeed. and Vardy, 2 goals, very
Could have
unselfish.
had a third as well, yeah.
Indeed, obviously the first one for Tielemans. And Vardy looks like a bit like when Solskjaer went to Manchester United. A number of those players started enjoying themselves. I mean, on the basis of that, and I know it was against Fulham, and Vardy's got goals in him for crying out loud, but he does look like he's kind of like, hey, we're back on.
Yeah, and they're playing more to his strengths as well.
Exactly. Well, I think that's it.
The ball that was played through by Maddison for one of his goals, that's exactly what Vardy needs.
That's what Rodgers said. Rodgers come in and immediately saying he's a brilliant focal point for the team. He's almost like a dig at Puel, if you see what I mean. Or not necessarily a dig at Puel, but the previous regime.
I imagine Funtime Brendan doesn't even know who Claude Puel is.
No.
Yeah.
It's in the past. And the past is the past, Jim.
Indeed.
You know, it's all about the honesty of the group. And Fulham fans can rest assured they're relegated now. I did say last week that they showed a bit against Chelsea for a bit, but I mean they were dreadful and there was errors and all sorts going on, and they really weren't in the game. But although I suppose they did equalise at one point.
I know what you mean.
How much of the money are they going to get back from all those players they bought?
Who knows
Right.
what the arrangements are. But one thing that surprised me about this game is that the referee was a guy who's apparently refereed 9 Premier League games, and he's called David Coote. I'd never heard of him. I've never once heard that name.
This is the first time I'm hearing of David Coote myself.
Have you?
No.
David Coote was the referee. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
My goodness.
He's no Dean.
No.
Yeah, but how many Premier League games has he refereed?
Apparently, I just clicked on him on
9.
He's refereed 9, yeah.
Oh, well, that's not too many, is
He's
it?
done 5 in the Championship this season.
Well, he's fairly new.
Yeah. Give him a chance.
Come on.
He obviously didn't do anything silly in this game, I don't think. Mind you, I hadn't actually watched the game live, so maybe he did.
Yeah, exactly.
Good on you, David Coote.
Yeah, well done, DC.
Hope he's bald, hence bald as a coot.
Exactly, yes.
No
Plenty to
silver
go
leg.
on there. Well, we look forward to...
John Moss has bought a bit of Tim.
I thought that.
Yeah.
Oh.
John Moss should also dye his hair green in the same spirit.
Yes. but some,
Maybe that's what he's grown under his top.
Who was it? It was complaining about John Moss being overweight in that game. There was a commentator. It might have been on the radio. He was complaining that forget it. It was Danny Mills. Seriously, forget it.